There we go. I think we got mic'd. I hope everyone can see me or hear me. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. Can everybody hear me? Waiting for a confirmation. Okay, good. Awesome. All right. So let me get the echo off here. There we go. All right. So this week we're going to be, it's going to be kind of a short show. We're going to talk about the 50th anniversary, just to briefly about the 50th anniversary. It was a great time. And then we'll talk about the what happened at the LNC meeting this week. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there. I did have to work this week, but plenty did help happen, as I'm sure most of you do know. But watched all of it with a lot of you, and appreciate those people that did turn out and watch the events this weekend. So anyway, let's get into it. First up, before we get into the reports, let's talk about regional and affiliate training. Have you guys signed up for regional affiliate training? Let me bring it. Yeah, there's that address for it. So we've got four more affiliate trainings coming up. We've got in two are in September, and in 2 weeks we're going to be in Des Moines, Iowa, Region Six training. And the week after that, they're going to be in Shreveport, Louisiana, and Region Seven training. So please show up if you're in those areas. And in October, the final two. One is going to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey, which is that's going to be on October 9th. And then we're going to have the final training of this year in Indianapolis. And if you get a chance to stop by, say hi to Kara, Michelle, anybody who's involved in this training, because they are working their ass off, and they are doing a fantastic job. I went to the training in Norfolk and had a tremendous time. It was a great time, great learning experience, getting to meet great regional volunteers, and people from all the way over from Kansas came to our training. So it was a great chance to meet people I hadn't met before, and get some great knowledge to bring back to my home state of West Virginia, or wherever my journey takes me in the future. So um, the second thing that I want to talk about is 50th. I went to 50th last weekend, which is why we didn't have a show. And I wanted to get reason why I'm doing kind of a truncated show tonight is I wanted to get something on this week because I didn't do anything last week. But 50th was such a phenomenal time. If you were there, shout out. Thanks for coming out and doing that. Oh, thank you, Hidetoshi Karita, Libertarian Party of Russia. Fantastic. Keep up the great work, and we're rooting for you. And thank you, Sun Vulcan, Sun Vulcan. Awesome, cool. So thanks for everyone tuning in. But 50th was such a fantastic event. It's of course, I'm going to do the trite cliche that it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. But, when you make it to 50 years, it's something worth celebrating. I personally have not made it to 50 years, so I'm gonna be celebrating when I get my 50th birthday here in a couple of years. But, it was great to meet some, those grassroots volunteers that have been working in the party for years. We've met some people that have only been involved in it for a couple of years. Um, personally, getting to meet Justin Amash, Joe Jorgensen, seeing her once again, our friends from headquarters, Tyler Harris, Tara DeSisto, Michelle McCutcheon, who we had on a few weeks ago, Becca Congdon, Chris Clements, David Aiken. I know I'm probably missing a few people, but these people worked their butts off to make that event a very, very fun one, very successful one. From the LNC, you had myself, Susan Hogarth, Tim Hagan, Eric Raudsep, Chris Lucchini. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. Or I'm sorry, Karen Ann Harless was there as well. Um, and I want to give a special shout out to the people from the Indiana delegation. Boy, I tell you what, man, they show up in droves at no matter what the event is. Sam Goldstein, Liz Coquillard, Morgan Rigg, Cassie Rolon. I mean, they are all fantastic volunteers. I can't say enough good things about the people and the affiliate in Indiana. They do top-notch work. Oh, Evan McMahon was there as well. So, I mean, this was a great event, great time to hang out, have a good time. It was a great facility. Um, Day one, we really just had a mixer and heard from some luminaries. I actually got yelled at by Larry Sharp because I was loud when we were playing cornhole. Um, Sorry, uh, you know, I get loud when we do that. So, um, but day two, it was a 10-hour day. And it was well, at least for me, it was a 10-hour day. I kind of tapped out at 10 hours. It went on for I think 13 hours, but I tapped out after about 10 hours. But they had a great state auction for gift baskets and cool things like John Phillips made a fantastic dagger about this maybe a little longer than this, but it was a beautifully built, beautifully made dagger that he made in his shop, um, and it went for like $1,400 in auction. I won two auctions with the New Mexico basket, which is my home state, so I was extra competitive in bidding for that, and I won the Utah basket as well. And if you can see behind me, uh, I actually got a lot of liquor out of that. So, there was 2 bottles of Utah liquor and 4 bottles of New Mexico wine out of that basket, and I don't really drink both, so I'm gonna have to have some friends come over and, help dispose of those properly for me. Um, but again, I'm sure we're gonna be doing something like this in 5 years, maybe not to the same level, or your state is gonna do a 50th anniversary, do it. Get involved, celebrate because that, we do so much fighting, whether it's the Democrats and the Republicans, or even within ourselves, that we should take our chances to celebrate and have a good time and break bread with one another and get to know one another. Because I think a lot of the infighting would definitely be mitigated if we break bread, sit down and learn from one another and talk with one another and understand one another. Um, it's as we see this weekend, and we'll get to the next part of my report, things don't always go great. So when you get a chance to celebrate, celebrate because these are milestones that are worth celebrating. Despite all the efforts of Democrats and Republicans to snuff us out, we're still here 50 years later. We are electing people to office. We are getting organized in states where we've never been organized before. We're getting organized in territories where we've never been organized before. There's an interest in Guam and the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and you know there's a movement to get something different. We have the great opportunity to offer something different to the American people, and I think uh, you know that's why we've been around for 50 years. So, uh, all right. So the LNC meeting this week. Again, I was not able to travel to that. I had to work today, this afternoon. In fact, I just wrapped up about 20 minutes ago. So I had to stay here, but I did watch the proceedings. I've been following along, doing going through the OneNote and the notes and the reports and all that fun stuff. Um, just keeping track of what's going on. So day one of the LNC meeting, day one generally is reserved for reports of committees. So we start out with the staff reports, or I'm sorry, the executive board reports. Reports to the chair, vice chair, and the treasurer and the secretary, and then we go into staff reports. The key takeaway from the staff reports is that we're actually doing fairly well financially. We have a surplus, and it's due to part of it's due to the fact that we've had a really slow summer in what we've been doing. We haven't been able to do a lot of the um, projects that we've wanted scheduled to do and stuff like that. And part of that's good, part of that's bad, but as a result, we do have a little bit more money in the bank than we projected at this point in the year. So, the other key takeaways is that our development, our regional training, uh, the 50th anniversary all did very well. The regional training is phenomenal. Again, please go to it. It is a great time, a great project to get involved with. Great way to get involved in the party and better involved in the party and become a resource to the party. So, but That's all part of the what the national party is doing right now, is putting together these programs, and, they're doing fantastic job even as, perhaps the Libertarian National Committee is not doing, what we should be doing, and, so we've gotten to that point right now. Look over, do we have any questions? Okay. So let's talk, the afternoon of day one, was the report of the Special Investigative Committee into the issue that happened in New Hampshire. The key takeaways from that report, which was released to us about a week ahead, and to the rest of the body about 3 or 4 days ahead of the meeting, was that the committee found that the letter that was sent to former chair of LPNH, Gilletta Jarvis, was extraordinary, um, and in nature, and um, they found that Joe Bishop Henchman, the former chair, had deleted some emails, um, and that those emails themselves were not recoverable due to based on a built-in time constraint from Google that cleans out a trash can after so many days or whatever. Um, I'm not too technical on that end of it, so I couldn't speak to whether that's true or not. That's just what we got in the report. They believe that there was a third person involved, and sought to coordinate the actions between the chair and the chair of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, but they were unable to identify the person. Um, and there were questions about whether that person really existed because it was based on the testimony of only one person. Um, you know, eh, I don't know what to believe. And at this point, the committee was not convinced that if we kept the report open any longer, that they would be able to divine that information. We weren't convinced that we'd be able to recover the emails, although there were reports and posts that said that the former chair had offered a folder of those deleted emails or deleted documents for review, and they were not reviewed. Um, at this point, we said, if there's no chance for us to recover that information, or get to that uh, alternate person that may have been involved in this, we would let the committee stand on their report and their mandate. They were given a week to present to us a final report, which they did. They actually turned around and provided the final report to the committee yesterday afternoon. So the special investigative committee to that issue is now closed. Most of the main actors at this point are out of the picture. Um, Again, without the identity of whoever this supposed third actor is, it's hard to we don't know what else is out there, but I without the ability to have any actual legal teeth when it comes to an investigation like this, there's only so much that they can compel someone to tell out of this. When they do an investigation like this, um, I've certain feelings about this. I don't know. I mean, I would hope that, if there was a third person, that identity would come out, um, just so we can pick their brain as to why they thought that this was a good idea, because obviously it was not. Um, it was a very, very bad idea. I mean, I remember hearing the news break, and I was like, "Oh, that's not good." So, I don't think that this is something that's going to be tried again. And if it is tried again, there are ways for us to mitigate. Um, CRM performed admirably in this case. I know that there was a lot of question about CRM. It did perform admirably in this case because while the data is there, it's not any of that that really sensitive PII, personally identifiable information, would be exposed to people. So yes, actually, this was all right. Delay in getting the emails was unacceptable. I agree. But, that wasn't I mean, let's see. Would I have kept the investigation going or not? I mean, that's hard because the investigation. I get a sense of frustration from the three investigators: Rufus King out of Louisiana, Joe Buckman out of Dr. Joe Buckman out of Utah, and Pat Dixon out of Texas. I think Pat Dixon was kind of the chair of the group. He was the main presenter at the LNC meeting. Um, you know, I sense a frustration that they weren't gonna get the answers that they wanted, but I did have some frustrations in how the investigation was conducted. I didn't agree with the meetings and the interviews not being recorded. Those were you know Rufus decided to do the meetings and interview and take notes and rely on memory, and that's probably not always the best thing to do when you're doing an investigation on that. Some things might slip. Even the best of us, it's hard to pay attention and ask questions and write down notes at the same time. Um, I would have pushed to have recorded conversations just for clarity, ensuring that I get everything, all the information. But based on the mandate, and really, again, remember we can't compel testimony out of anybody, even members of the LNC. We couldn't compel testimony. And granted, I was not asked. I really wasn't involved in this at all. I was definitely not that crazy third person or whatever that was. Uh, I wasn't asked because it's not my region. I I know a few people from New Hampshire, but I kind of keep out of New Hampshire's business. So that's it's very hard to say uh, that this investigation would have produced anything more. So um, if we had just kept it open, and this is part of the reason why when we were talking about forming this committee, I didn't want it to be a outside investigative agency that we would have to pay for because an outside investigative agency would have pushed to extend this investigation longer to get those answers, and we would have paid for pretty much what we get today. I just don't think, again, an outside investigative agency still does not have that legal authority to compel you to testify, compel you to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Only a court can do that. So it's a hard thing. Um, I mean, I'm hoping that this kind of serves as a scared straight for anybody who would consider doing something so dumb in the future. Uh, that's my takeaway from it. So let's talk about day two. See. Yeah, the we have a surplus. It was about $50,000. The expense of I am not an investigator. I don't know exactly the prices of an investigator, but when this was being discussed, I reached out to somebody who was involved in investigations, and it would have been probably for the quarter well north of six figures. So yeah, we have a surplus now, but we would not have had a surplus certainly, and it would have started eating into things, vital things like candidate support, affiliate support, things that we do operating as a party, more than finding out why people were doing dumb things in New Hampshire. Um, but anyway, so let's talk about day two. Day two, we all know what day two is supposed to be. We started out, the first agenda item was the discussion about the suspension of Karen Ann Harlos as secretary. Immediately was moved to push that back on the agenda, actually to the last item, and we started discussing other things. So one of the things we discussed was Vice Chairman Ken Molman discussed the CRM project, how there is a need for um, some issues coming. That there were issues coming out of the New Hampshire issue. New Hampshire which caused the New Hampshire party to drop out of the CRM. We are in 28 states. We are hoping to push through a few more states before the end of the fiscal year or the end of the calendar years. I'm sorry. So he did note that there were some technical issues, the lack of RAM on the back end, which makes it slower for people trying to get data out of CRM. Uh, he noted that there is a need for an expansion in that. The committee did vote um, to help address some of those issues to spend $15,000 promote to get additional technical support to the CRM project so that it is fully operational for the future. Of course, our budget meeting is the next meeting, so we'll probably be talking about more money with the CRM project coming on in December at the meeting in Boston. The second thing that we really just, and there were a couple other things that they wanted to discuss with the CRM project, but it turned out that they wanted to kind of push those to the email list, so those were tabled at this time. The second thing was Susan Hogarth, Region Five, my regional rep, was able to secure a one-time $500 donation for to assist the Libertarian Party of South Carolina with tabling an outreach event. There was a little controversy with doing it. They were saying, if we do it for one, we should do it for all. I agree. We should do it for all. If that's some of the things. If we can start raising more money, that we can start assisting state parties in doing the outreach events that help them reach more voters. That is a great thing. We should be doing that. But that did pass. So great to see LP South Carolina getting being able to table an event, a good outreach event. I think she said 75 to 80,000 people attend this event, so it's great to get that kind of a visibility. All right, so at that point, Secretary Harlos motioned that we bring the motion for suspension forward, and I'm going to try and do this as clinically as possible. I'm trying not to get too wrapped up in the he said, she said stuff of this whole thing. So here are the facts. Secretary requested the suspension be brought back up, and we voted to do that. After three points of orders and a couple of attempted motions, uh, and three votes to overrule the chair, which all failed, we went into debate on the suspension motion. Laura Ebke, the bringer of the motion, was allowed 30 minutes to bring forth the case of suspension, or suspension. Um, it's hard because suspension is technically removal in this case. It's the same effect. She was allowed 30 minutes to present their case. There was Laura Ebke, Aaron Adams, John Phillips. Um, I believe Susan Hogarth spoke as well, and a couple other people did speak during that time. David Sexton, I believe, as well. Um, at that point, after that case was made, Karen Ann Harless was allowed 30 minutes to present the opposing side, which she did. She did take up most of that time. She did allow Dustin Nana and Ken Molman to speak on her behalf as well. Dustin Nana offered a motion to change the word suspension to censure. That was debated, and it failed. And at that point, we moved into voting. Well, there was another 10 minutes of rebuttal. So 5 minutes of each side got to rebut each other. Um, After that, we went into voting procedure, and uh, Karen Ann Harless was suspended on a vote of 11 to 2 to 1. One expressed abstention, which was Ken Molman, the vice chair. Two voting against were Rich Bowen out of Region 8 and Dustin Nana out of Region 3. Karen Ann Harless, we did pass a bylaw that says that members who are under a suspension vote cannot vote for themselves, and it changed, the dynamic. They're basically just not a vote in that case. But it did reach the 2/3 threshold for removal. I know some of you disagree with that. I know some of you are very much in agreement with that. That's fine. I guess I'll switch hats and say this is my position on it. I look at two things mainly that did her in. One was the kind of the pattern of behavior, and it wasn't just from New Hampshire. It was going back even prior terms, but it was just a pattern of behavior. Um, the second was the lack of contrition. When offered an opportunity, this was during the debate regarding the censure motion. Pat Ford from Region 8, which eventually voted not to. uh, not to suspend her. But that was Rich Bowen, the actual regular representative that made that vote. But Pat Ford asked if she was censured, and the main thing about censure is the how are you change your behavior, and that was essentially his question. And really, the answer kind of left everyone wanting. Like, I think if she had shown some contrition and shown some definite steps of what she was going to do, to kind of address her behavior, I think that she would have survived. Honestly, I think there were a couple of wavering votes that would have changed, and she would have survived. Uh, I don't wish her ill. I don't wish anyone ill. I think I supported the motion. I did not vote on it, of course, because I was not there. But I supported the motion. Um, and my regional rep, who did vote, did support the motion. So that's where I stood. But again, from here, she has the right to appeal to the Judiciary Committee, and that's what she's going to do, and that's her full right. And I wish her luck in doing that. I'm not completely up on the Judicial Committee process of what how that turns out, or how what they do, but that's her right, and uh, I wish her luck in doing that. Um, and whatever happens, happens. That's just my feeling. So, and I know that people are mad, and I get that. Um, but I when I first joined the Libertarian Party, I uh, I didn't know what the Libertarian National Committee was. For many years, I really didn't care what the Libertarian National Committee was. Um, and I think for far too long, we've allowed the Libertarian National Committee to kind of dominate our discussions rather than let's figure out how to do things on the local and grow the party that way. The Libertarian National Committee has done some really good things, like the Frontier Project, providing some professionalization through the candidate training and affiliate training. The I think the affiliate box is going to be a very good thing for our local affiliates. But I think we've got to start getting our focus away from us knuckleheads in the LNC and back to our states and our local communities. That's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to advance liberty. Not waiting for us to rule from on high about this, that, or the other. We drive the policy. We as locals will drive the policy in our communities to make ourselves to have a world set free in our lifetimes, which is our stated goal. So, anyway, that's let me hit some questions. Yeah, she did. I mean, that's all right. I mean, and that's Karen Ann Harless. I mean, I, I'll level with you. I like Karen Ann Harless. If when I go to events and Karen Ann Harless is there, I can sit down with her and it actually came up during the meeting. Sit at a bar and hang out with her and have fun, and she's very personable on a personal level. I think the thing with her is that she lets her it's the public persona, and if she let her actual genuine persona shine through, I think a lot of people would not have as many issues with her. But she has kind of this grandiose public persona that I think she feels that she needs to continue to bring up. And you know what? That's cool. That's her, and you know, she put on a show, and that's Karen Ann Harless. That showmanship that we saw today was great. I mean, she does make a compelling case, but I think when it comes to dynamics of a board, it's not a show. We are here to try and guide the party into, uh, setting the agenda of the party so that you guys can go out there and just work and do the things and get people elected. That's my takeaway from it. Didn't Karen Ann Harless go to everyone? Yeah, Karen Ann Harless, again, she does some good things, and I don't have a problem with that. Again, this is not a personality problem. Like I hate Karen Ann Harless. No, again, I can sit down and hang out with her, and she is very personal, like a one-on-one conversation. My goodness, she's so personal. It's really cool to hang out with her. But the flip side, what we see, and I know a lot of people like that fighter image, and that's it's very effective when it's going against someone else. But when she's turning the fire on everyone inside, then that's it becomes disruptive. So let's see. Not everyone wants drama. Drama is in the eye of the beholder. So we will vote the LNC members just to give you a chance. N- Not really. I mean, I don't agree with everybody on the board, but that's fine. Um, it becomes a issue of can we move forward? And I think people made that investment of no, we can't. But anyway, I, I'm I hope Karen Ann learns from this. I hope Karen Ann, takes some lessons from what's gone on and what people are saying to her as to why they voted for this resolution, and makes corrections, because if she does, she's going to come back way stronger and a better person and a better libertarian and an absolute asset to the Libertarian Party. That's my hope. That's a sincere hope. But if not, um, I'm concerned. I really am concerned. But you know, if she ever needs help, I don't. Reach out to me. I don't. I there doesn't need to be animosity. Um, things went against her today. Doesn't mean that that's the permanent situation for her. So, um, guys messed up today. Bad. Yeah, perhaps. I can't say. We'll see. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Tim McMaster, all around badass, uh, wrestling guy out of Pennsylvania. So say hey to Tim. So I'm not going to bore everyone for too much longer. This actually went a little bit longer than I thought. Um, I will say uh, the next 2 weeks, or next 3 weeks, we've got some really exciting shows coming up. So next week we are talking Canadian politics, which I know people are like, oh, Canadian politics. What are we First off, we're talking to Tim Moen, who's the former head of Parti Libertarien du Canada, or the Libertarian Party of Canada, about the Canadian election, which is slated for later this month. Justin Trudeau has called a snap election, and we'll go into kind of how the Canadian political system works. But he's called a snap election, which he, as a prime minister, has a right to do in order to try and enhance his party majority in part. Well, actually, go from a minority government to a majority government. He banked on the ability to, that everyone loved his response to COVID, which really hasn't really worked at this point. So he's hemorrhaging support. So it's coming down to a nail biter of what's going to happen with Canada. But I'm excited to have Tim Moen on to talk about what's going on in Canada, and get an idea of the Canadian Libertarian Party and how we can help them, and get some information about the movement north of the border. I'm always supportive of our international libertarians, whether it's the Liberal Democratic Party of Australia. We had the Libertarian Party of Russia member here earlier. I know we got some great movements coming out of Africa right now. So I'm happy to highlight those international movements for liberty, and especially with the election coming up in Canada next week, we or in a couple weeks, we'll be talking Canadian politics next week. And then the next 2 weeks, we're going to do what I call Candidate Palooza, which is we are going to take the first week, we're going to have candidates from like Virginia, Illinois, Ohio come on and talk about their campaigns, drum up support, because at least in Virginia, they're starting early voting on the 17th. I think our show runs the 19th. Um, we want to get them exposed, and you libertarians who want to get involved in campaigns or throw some money a few candidates' way, we want to expose those candidates to you because we are in an off-year election, so you might have some extra cash to throw around. I'd love for you to do that to some of these candidates. And then the week after that, we are bringing on a bunch of candidates from the state of Pennsylvania. If you have not heard what the Molten Maneuver is, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk to great candidates like Tim and a bunch of, we're going to talk to hopefully state chair, the state chair, name's escaping me right now, and I can see her face right now. That's what happens when you turn 38. So, anyway, we're going to be talking to several of the candidates in Pennsylvania that are running on the Molten Maneuver. We are going to be looking at almost doubling our number of elected officials on election day just because of this. So this is a very important thing. This is that building the bench, moving forward, getting people who are ready to represent and in the political system so that they can justify their moving up to say state house, state senate, and then when they go up to state house, state senate, they can justify a run for U.S. House or governor or lieutenant governor or commissioner of agriculture or whatever they're doing. But it's building that bench, and that's the important thing of the Molten Maneuver, stocking the lake with libertarian candidates, libertarian office holders, and a bench for us to build up on. So yes, Jen Moore, state chair of Pennsylvania, and I'm kicking myself for forgetting that because my brain is melted. But anyway, I put the Labor and Labor Day today. So, yeah, those are our next three. In October, we're going to have Des Lindsay, who's running for Texas State Senate, not this year, but next year. But we're actually going to talk to her about that. Talk to her about some of the things she does with the Psychedelic Caucus, and talk about some of the things that she, her work with Vermin Supreme and all the great things that she's done for the party. So I look forward to talking to Desiree Lindsay in October. I think that's the second week of October. The first week is going to be the LNC meeting, so I probably won't have a show that week. But anyway, 9:30 tonight on my personal Facebook, my personal YouTube channel, which you'll see linked at the end of the show. You can join me, Dan Fishman, Emily Hurtley, perhaps my sister, perhaps Tyler Smith, on the Political Deep Dive After Dark. This is just more of a irreverent look at the week in politics and pop culture and news. We got plenty to talk about, such as the Texas abortion decision. There was a coup in the country of Guinea in Africa. Leaders are falling in Africa at a rapid rate. So if you haven't been paying attention, hop on over and join us for that at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. But again, thank you so much for joining us this week on the Political Deep Dive. I really appreciate it. It's been a difficult week. I know that people are angry. I know that people are, some people are celebrating, some people are angry. But again, all this is going to pass, and we still have important work to getting the country on the right track and setting the world free in our lifetime. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us this week. Let me get my video. There we go. And I will talk to you guys next Sunday night at 8 p.m. with Tim Owen, former head of the Libertarian Party Canada. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. We air every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can get regular updates on our show and our guests by following us on social media on Facebook.com/ThePoliticalDeepDive, all one word, on Twitter.com/PoliticalDeep, all one word, on YouTube.com/Papaduke, PAPADUKE, on Twitch.tv, The Political Deep Dive, all one word, and on Mondays, the audio of this episode is uploaded to SoundCloud.com/ThePoliticalDeepDive, all one word. And you can join in on the fun on Instagram.com/ThePoliticalDeepDive, all one word. The best way to support the Liberty Movement is to join the Libertarian Party at lp.org. Give us a like, a share, and a subscribe on whatever platform you're watching from. It helps extend our reach, and we greatly appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern.